There's a classic hymn that we sing during Lent and Stations of the Cross, "Were you there? Were you there when they crucified my Lord?" Certainly during this day, this Holy Week, we're following in the footsteps of Jesus. But I think we can use some of the other figures in our Passion narrative to not ask just the question, were you there, but where have we been? Where have we been in our walk with the Lord, or maybe even where are we now? And some of the people we hear about are good examples of that, and some are not so good examples of that. Of course, we can think of Judas, but also we can think of Peter, James, and John, who the Lord invited there in the Garden of Gethsemane, which had to have been like the toughest night of his life. He even said, my soul is sorrowful, even to death. And another gospel read, he sweated blood, and they're just like sleeping through the whole thing. Maybe sometimes we find ourselves a little drowsy or sleepy in our faith life, maybe a little indifferent. Or we can think of the man who had the single garment. It's thought to be Mark, the author of the gospel. And when they seized him, he wasn't going to have anything to do with that. He'd rather run off naked than get in trouble. Maybe sometimes, we look back and we feel like maybe we've kind of, let go of the faith a little bit, especially when we're challenged or up against it. Or we could think of the high priest who, when Jesus declared that he was the Christ, the Messiah, and come to fulfill that prophecy of Daniel chapter 7 that he quoted, the high priest, he tore his garment because he thought that was blasphemy. And maybe we too can sometimes struggle to see Jesus as God and not just, some nice teacher who did some good things. Of course, on the other hand, we have a lot of other wonderful examples of faith as well. We have Simon, who was pressed into service, helping Jesus carry the cross, but that must have been very transformational for him. Mark even says he is the father of Alexander and Rufus, which we have to believe then means that they were all of them known to that early Christian community. Simon's encounter with Christ had to have changed the whole course of his life and the life of his family. We've had those encounter moments, those transformational moments as well. And we can think, too, of the Roman soldier at the end, who, though he wasn't part of the people of God, was the first to declare Jesus as truly, this is the Son of God. Then, of course, we have that wonderful scene at the beginning of our Passion with the woman who had this expensive jar of oil, and she just poured it all out on Jesus, even broke the jar. She was holding nothing back to show her love and devotion to the Lord. So where have we been in our relationship with God? Where might we be right now? And where is the Lord calling us to step in deeper? I believe especially during this Holy Week, he's calling us to enter more deeply into his heart of self-giving love, which of course we encounter here in the Mass, and then are sent forth to go and live.